Now, we've made it this far, so I shan't stand up here too long. We have a blockbuster panel to close off proceedings. So what is the last thing we have in store for us tonight? It's the panel on building masterpieces of digital transformation, strategizing with generative and predictive AI to build equitable digital ecosystems. It's a mouthful for me. So concluding day one on our panel, we will discuss leveraging these predictive AI to build these ecosystems, and it's going to be moderated by Hani Alaita, Managing Director and Chief Growth Officer and Business Transformation and AI for Supernova Advisory. And the panel will include Sam Benny, Strategic Advisor at Tech Nation and CEO of Platin VC, Roger Wall, Globe Chief Technology Officer at Innova Group, Kate Barker, Chief Futurist and Executive Board Advisor at NEOM, and Mohamed Abusheikh, a Founder and CEO of Context, Alina Timofeyeva, Influence Board Member, BCH, the Chartered Institute for IT, and Lanri Ogundipe, Co-Founder and CEO of PAVE HQ. I hope I got all your names right. Big round of applause for our last panel of the day.
All right, so indeed, we're going to close off with a very interesting topic that is on top of everybody's mind here. Again, here, my name is Hani Aleda. I'm been leading transformation advisory for quite a bit of clients around the GCC region here, coming from a background of, I would say, digital transformation, which now is under the world of AI. And building upon that here, if I can maybe take you through a bit of a journey, imagine a world where AI not only predicts what you will do, what you will need tomorrow, but actually it will design it for you. A world where technology doesn't just automate, but collaborate with humans to solve society's biggest problems. The news is that this world is no longer in the future. It is now. But the real question is, are we designing it the right way? So welcome to our session on building masterpieces of digital transformation. We're going to be diving deep into how generative and predictive AI are reshaping how we work, live, and create value with an eye on equity, ethics, and impact. With me are really 6 pioneers here who aren't just talking about the future, they're actually building it. So without further ado, I would let each one of you to introduce themselves, because I wouldn't be able to do any fairness if I would introduce it myself. So please, Sam, if you can take the lead.
Can you hear me now? Okay, awesome. Well, how are we doing today? Good? Energized? That's it. Good. My name is Sam Benny. People call me serial entrepreneur. I'm not quite sure. It reminds me of a serial killer. I killed a few of my companies. But I founded 5 companies and supported over 6,000 ventures to date. I've had the opportunity to work with amazing founders from pre-seed to IPO, amazing repeated founders. So I've seen different shades of being a founder, how to run a company, how to scale it, what are the challenges. And had a couple of exits in my experience, but the best thing I enjoy is working with founders who are driven about a problem and they want to solve it. So for me, it's all about innovation. And I really like to work with founders who know how to go and tackle that and find the solution for their problems by any means necessary. And also I run Platin VC, which is ultimately mid to late stage VC advisory.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Sam. Alina.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alina Timofeyeva. Thank you so much for having me here today. So there are quite a few things which I do. I'm pretty much focused on financial services, on helping them transform using technology, data, AI, and analytics. I have been working in UK with the global banks for the last 10 years, and recently I've been working with Saudi Arabia for the last few months. So I'm really excited to be here to give the perspective of both the financial services and the governments.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks, Alina. Muhammad, you're next.
Am I audible?
Press the button, maybe, yeah.
Hello? Yeah? No? Yeah, better. Hi. My name is Muhammad, and I'm founder and CEO of Context, and I just like to build things.
Thanks, Mohammed. Roger?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Roger Wall, Chief Technology Officer and Business Leader at Innova Group. What do? We've built most of the iconic structures in Dubai and Abu Dhabi over the past 38 years. Coca-Cola Arena, Marza Al Arab is just finishing up now, and a lot of other things. And we're using AI across the gamut of operations, internally in the company, cybersecurity. We'll talk about some of those usage, but it's getting much more mainstream now.
Thanks, Roger. Dr. Kate? Microphone.
How about now? There we go. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Kate Barker. I've been working in this space for over 30 years across 5 continents, 25 countries and over 50 cities globally. I'm currently the Chief Futurist at NEOM, a $500 billion future city you may have all heard about in Saudi Arabia. I work primarily on the intersection between technology, leadership and talent on all things to do with people and Gen AI. I'm also the strategic advisor to His Highness Sheikh Saif Al Nahyan here in the UAE, as well as an executive advisor to BCG, Bain and McKenzie. I've been spending all my time in this space, and I've just completed my PhD on Gen AI, talent and leadership, and the impacts of ethics and governance. Welcome, great to be here.
Thanks, Kate. And last but not least, we have Len.
All right. Thank you for having me, everyone. My name is Lanre Ogundikwe. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Pave HQ from Lagos, Nigeria. Pave HQ is basically an edtech company that is using AI to digitize career pathways for learners across Africa and globally. I'm also a founder of a company called Imperial EdTech, which is a 15-year-old education technology company. And we're one of the first hardware OEMs in Nigeria as well. And we're using AI as well to transform hardware and the use of hardware in different spaces, healthcare, education, and government as well. So thank you very much for having me, and look forward to a wonderful conversation with my co-panelists. Yeah.
Thank you. Indeed a very, very rich panel of pioneers here we have. Feel very honored to be sitting amongst you. To start the conversation, maybe we'll go with Dr. Kate, who's working on one of the, I would say, most futuristic project in our landscape here in the region, the NEOM project. Dr. Kate, maybe we can go with a question to you on where do you believe generative AI is taking us that we did not anticipate just a year ago?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. And 3 points I'll give you is that the uptake of Gen AI has had an impact globally of 40% of users in the last 3 years. That uptake of users of technology we usually see in decades, not just in months. And that impact we're seeing across technology, we were calling around the impact across 300,000 people. I think what we are standing up to that we didn't predict was the fact that this would impact middle level, senior level and executive level roles. And we're seeing now organizations look to gain greater productivity by mass layoffs across organizations. And I don't think we estimated the impact that that would have on us so quickly. The second one I wanted to share with you was, who's on TikTok? Come on, confess. There's more of you in the room, I'm sure. Thank you.
I know
there are AI avatars on TikTok that have more followers than mainstream media. So the level of influence we're seeing AI take up on social media platforms without level of authenticity or realism that sits behind their information has become phenomenal. And the third area I think we didn't predict was a term called AI slop. This is the level of AI dumping of information that we see on company websites, Wikipedia, general media sites of information that is actually not correct. Information and data that is actually not true, sophisticated or real. So how do we now look for information that is true? where do we get our data from, our insights and information that we know is actually accurate? So the impact that we feel it's having on the future is really around, is the information we know or being shared with actually true or not? Thank you.
Amazing. Indeed, when we look at the future, you know, and imagine all that systems that we are either using now or potentially be using in the future, or we're going to be building. Maybe it's worth now taking a look at just a bit under the hood here and talk some tech realities. So maybe Roger here, we can touch upon what's one underestimated maybe technical challenge in implementing predictive AI at scale, and how should organizations address it?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great question. The key there is scale, right? So we're using AI in a lot of different ways. It's pretty much mainstream in all the operations, all the industries. So some of the common pitfalls I've seen technology-wise is, first, data is most important, obviously. It's garbage in, garbage out. So data is the most important part of AI from an underpinning perspective. And what we're seeing is a lot of companies are implementing AI with a data model at the beginning, and as they ingest more data and the model evolves, they're not actually keeping up with the data structure and the data quality. So it's becoming rampant, I would say, incorrect data, and it's not achieving the results that they were looking for at the very beginning. So one of the pitfalls is definitely you have to keep on top of the data evolution. As your model evolves, you have to continue to tweak that model to make sure you get the maximum potential out of it. Especially, you can ingest so much data with GPUs, and quantum computing is going to change the game when it comes to ingestion of data. So you really have to keep on top of the data. The second piece is really when you think about latency. So many of the customers that I work with and partners I work with, they think the cloud is it, right? So it's scalable, it's very much operational. We should rely on the cloud. But we're seeing many customers move away from that, and many partners move away from that, and they're moving to AI startup kits, starter kits, with modular mobile data centers on the edge computing. This keeps your data local to you. It also, for instance, when we do a construction, we're building a project here in Saadiyat Lagoons. We have AI processing the movement of all the people across the project, the heavy equipment, machinery, the actual construction, and we have to correlate that data in real time. We can't have the latency of it going to another location, to a data center, and then being correlated there. So what we see is many companies in many industries are starting to have these AI startup kits, modular mobile data centers, about as big as the screen behind us, that you can move anytime, anywhere, from one project to another, from one structure to another, and you can process all of your AI, Gen AI, as well as operational AI, right local on the site and have instant correlation.
Thank you. No, it's great when vision meets engineering. The question here is, what happens when systems that aren't meant to serve all and only serve a few? So maybe Alina here, what are the blind spots that you see in how organizations approach fairness, access, and even AI responsibility today?
Thank you so much for the question. I think, first of all, we need to care about delivering the ROI on any of the AI implementations. But unfortunately, people want to act very fast without thinking about security, without thinking about efficacy. So if I bring a very simple example, we have junior resources in a lot of consulting firms that go to ChatGPT when it's actually outside of the security considerations within the company, within their clients, and we have seen the companies being cancelled of contracts because of these challenges. I think the second part, which is more, again, the efficacy, where does it sit within the organization? So historically, you would have AI, who are the data scientists. You would have somebody who's a CISO. You would have a CIO. You would have a CTO. But there is not one place where this comes together. So in a way, you haven't yet had a chief ethical person or a chief AI person. So it's always a question of who's going to embed these processes and policies in place. And I think that the third part is we still keep seeing a lot of misuse in terms of, deep fakes, for example, when our voice is cloned, unfortunately, for a fraud, or perhaps even the children and the women, they are compromised because of the deep fakes. And the question is really about the training. It's about the people. It's about the fact, why would somebody commit such a fraud? And if you look at it from the Chartered Institute of IT perspective, where I'm a board member, what we advocate for is, everybody who's exercising AI needs to be ethical. Because if you think about a doctor, he's not going to operate if he's not ethical. He would be the right person to do it. And as part, he's going to do whatever is right. So I would greatly encourage all of you and your teams to think about the efficacy. And as you think about the ROI, as you think about the money, as you think about the speed, it's always thinking about the efficacy and, how do you stay safe and secure?
Exactly. It's always the impact at the end of the game, and that really brings us to that question of impact and value. It's not just moral, but measurable, and it has been a big dilemma all across. We need to follow the money at the end of the day. We're doing it all, from the money. So Sam, maybe from an investment lens here, what really defines a scalable and responsible AI startup today?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's all about following the money, end of the day, right? You can find the truth when you find the money. Well, in this case, the question should be like, what is AI, right? Because no one tends to agree on that, right? I think AI is the only technology, as a horizontal technology, that changes meaning every couple of years, right? So if 10 years ago you asked us what is AI, we mainly meant like machine learning, deep learning models. Then the LLM models, the transformer came in, and then we now kind of mean generative AI. And now we are, actually that's also changing. Now in a 6 months time when we talk about AI, we mainly talk about agentic AI, right? Because that's where we are moving towards. So first we have to understand what we're talking about when it comes to AI, because it changes meaning all the time. And other than that, when it comes to especially AI for good, right? When we talk about AI, similar to any other technologies, technology is neutral, right? Who's building it, who's funding it, who's basically pushing it forward is the person with the bias, right? And AI is the same, right? There's no such thing that, AI killing us all unless you program it for that. So in this case, when it comes to funding companies that's working on really later stage bleeding edge AI models, it's all about, ensuring that they're working on something that is for the good of the world, right? That's one of the very important things for me. And I've been working with amazing companies that have been doing that. So I've got a founder here from IME AI that's been working on actually deploying AI for employee well-being, right? That's ensuring that individuals in the companies are happy. We are spending, 2/3 of our life in work. And what if we had a coach to help us on a daily basis? I'm on a part of another company that supports organizations on actually reducing any sort of deep fakes and not safe for work content on their laptops, so you wouldn't see like the content that's not good for you. So it's all about following the trail of the money and how they go or invest into the companies. I give you an example. For example, last year there were around like $50 billion invested in AI, right? But let's dive a bit deeper. It's not just AI. What we mean by that. Let's dive a bit deeper. Around 55% of the investment, so around 26 billion, been invested purely in generative AI models. And if you dive a bit deeper on that again, we can see that actually 80% of that have been invested in only 20 companies. So you see, like, again, follow the money, see where they're going ahead and how the innovation is pushed ahead to be able to see like where we see the technology moving forward, right? And when it comes to the investment, is to understand, again, what are the trends? What are the areas that we're going forward? Right now, for me, it's all about agentic AI.
And I believe that it's your answer today might be different tomorrow as well, based on where things are moving on, and the speed of where things are going.
Absolutely. I think one of the things I really enjoy is to see like the conversion. I call this decade the decade of conversion, because we can see different technologies being converted together to be able to create new things. So for example, one of the areas that we've been discussing today is the conversion of quantum with machine learning. You've got QML. The conversion of AR, augmented reality, VR with AI and blockchain is metaverse, right? The conversion of these different technologies really give birth to various different applications on our daily basis.
Amazing. So the capital is there. But how do we make sure that the innovation is really grounded in regional reality, let's say, in our region today, especially here in the Middle East on the GCC? So Muhammad, maybe you can take us into what unique regional opportunities or challenges are shaping AI adoption in the Middle East.
So the Middle East has a very unique edge when it comes to AI. I think some of the opportunities would be the top-down national strategies and the abundance of underutilized data. And as we all know, data is key to winning this AI race that we're in, especially high-quality local data, right? Those would be two of the most important opportunities that I would look at. In terms of challenges, I would say talent, attracting the right talent and finding the right talent is always challenging and is always an item. And then secondly, I would say building culturally grounded models. Because Arabic is not just one language, right? It's one language with a lot of different dialects and many different cultures and so on and so forth. So you need to cater for all those different communities and all those different cultures. That being said, I truly believe that with the region's capital and urgency, it's truly positioned to leapfrog and not just follow in this race.
Amazing. The mega projects are out there and they scale fast, we know. With big companies, they have the money, they can do it, and the scalability. But what about the disruptors? The lean innovators, the agile innovators who don't really wait for permission. So maybe along here, you can take us through how can SMEs really leverage generative AI to disrupt these large players?
All right, thank you for that question. So I think the way we're seeing AI is no longer a buzzword, it's a way of life now. And when you look at SMEs, in most countries, SMEs actually drive the GDPs of most countries in most situations, and they're the biggest hirers, right? So when you look at Gen AI, and there's this thing about, would AI take people's jobs? And I think the answer to that is people who don't use AI, they would take the jobs of people who don't know how to use AI. So when you look at SMEs and how SMEs typically operate, they are quite dynamic in the way that they change things. More than big corporations where it goes through so much bureaucracy, and I'm sure a lot of big corporations here also understand in some cases where you actually have to form a whole new department for that change management, and things like that. But in SMEs, you see that probably directly from the CEO, you can cause a change to happen in 1 week, right? Looking at Gen AI, and I come from the education space, right, where what we do is we do a lot of trainings, right, around how to leverage AI for SMEs. We're working with the largest SME government organization in Nigeria, currently called SMIDAN. In Nigeria, for example, we have 40 million SMEs in Nigeria. And if you think about the growth of an economy and how economies grow, it's how quick you can transform, how quick you can communicate, and how quick you can innovate as well. And when you look at SMEs compared to large corporations, that's why we have the growth of startups as we see today. It's all about being able to innovate, being able to disrupt, right? And when you look at how Gen AI is working in that space, how people can easily produce content for marketing, produce content for client conversion, and even customer service as well, right? And if you look at any SME, these are majorly the things that SMEs run off. How do you engage with your customers? How do you market? And how do you grow your business? So when you look at the implementation of it, it is how can we teach AI at scale to the smallest, not just SMEs, even MSMEs, the micro businesses, yes. In the markets, because we're looking at a revolution where we're seeing in this industry where even the people who are selling in the markets can leverage AI. So how do we, and I'm also saying, I'm speaking from an education lens, right? How do we make sure that the information, the learning, the teaching of how to use AI and leverage AI in your business trickles down, not just from large organizations, but down to SMEs and also down to micro businesses? And I think that's the charge that I'm going to live here with, and get everyone to understand that even for your customers, not just for your business, for your customers, they need to understand how you're using AI in your business so they can also trust your business to a large extent. So, I mean, for the sake of time, I'll leave it there, and then maybe if there are any questions, I'll continue. Thank you.
And definitely, it's a very hot topic. We see it every day here because agility, change management, upskilling, it's like all the adoption rate and speed. Unfortunately, elephants will need to learn how to run, I guess, if they want to stay in the business, right? So it's all about agile, sharp, disruptive. We've been hearing this word from our panelists. It's clear. Digital transformation, is it a one-size-fits-all? There's not one way of doing it. It's not a one way of playing the game. There's a variety, many different challenges across the different topics within that transformation. But let's push the envelope a bit here, maybe more, and have a bit of a rapid crossfire into a couple of hot topics here. And feel free to just shoot out the answer that comes to mind very quickly here. First one, what is that one wrong assumption most companies make about AI?
I think the biggest one for me is that they think that AI will solve it all. We, to some extent, have almost doing this, right, on a daily basis. We are diverting our intelligence to ChatGPT at this point, right? I've seen board members of large companies genuinely going and asking ChatGPT what to do. And that's the problem. That's the actual problem. And so I think
you can't blame them.
For me, the challenge is, and I mentioned this multiple times over the years, I think OpenAI has killed the internet as we know it. But essentially now, through this new age of AI, we shouldn't really simply trust these systems and hope for the best. You have to do your homework.
So for me, there is a concept of catastrophic modeling, which I'm very keen on. It's essentially when you change the model and something goes really, really bad, but you don't quite know it. So it's very important to keep the human in the loop as much as possible. And it's very important for us as humans to be as knowledgeable as possible. So not to trust ChatGPT and not to ask ChatGPT how to govern AI. One funny example, just on Sam's example, I've been speaking about to university professors, and they're getting really, really upset that all the students are answering using ChatGPT. And then I asked them, how do they ask the questions? And they said, we asked ChatGPT to ask the questions to the students. So I'm like, you can't be doing this because you need to be a role model. And I think it's all about the people and us, being the role models for the future generation, whether it's AI or any future technologies.
Good.
I think the assumption, I'll look at it from a different lens. Mostly, we assume that AI is going to be much more executional, way faster than it actually is, right? Because up until today, most of the AI you see being used comes from either some form of multimedia, or write an email, or do this, or do that, or the other thing. But I have not yet seen an AI that can get your groceries, right? Or an AI that can actually execute end-to-end on one's behalf. And I think that's where the new age or the new era of AI and what to come is going to be. And that's where the assumption was it's going to be there way faster, but I guess we're still not there. So.
Maybe for the rest of the panel, we'll move on, keeping the fire on. We'll move on to a different question, and that where we will have to choose equity, speed, or intelligence. Which one would you build for first in a digital ecosystem?
So I'll combine the two first questions together. Alina talked about a human in the loop. The most important thing that I think companies are missing is you have to create a culture internally first. It's all about the people. It's not really about the technology. So I think equity, meaning everybody on the same page, moving forward together, understanding their roles and responsibilities, is more important than the actual AI itself. So the equity of the company being on the same page and people understanding their roles, what AI can do for them. The cultural shift is what we did first in our digital transformation. We embedded it in the culture, brought all of the different department heads along on the road with us before we implemented anything.
Would you like to add on this, or should I give you a different one?
Yeah, I'm going to take a different angle entirely and challenge the question or the assumption behind it. What we should be aiming for is a human-centric touch. Let's leave, as technology and Gen I will democratize information as we know it, the level of information will become less valuable. It will be sent to us at any time we want. What we will crave, what we will look for more so in our lives is a level of human connection with each other. Because Gen AI can never create that. Technology can never bring that to us. No AI avatar that we create of ourselves will ever give us that level of human connection. And we're seeing this level of it surfacing in our social and personal lives now, as mental health issues become on the rise. So what I would challenge is the two things we need to look for is a human connection, and we need to work out what is rubbish or trash information in the market and scrutinize it with critical thinking and problem-solving skills.
All right, so for me, I would look at two things, looking from the lenses of ethics and governance, how the ethical AI, use of AI, transcends down to speed. And as a startup founder, speed is important because you want to fail fast, right? And then find out what is rubbish very quickly and stop using that. And in terms of the
equity afterwards, so you
and then equity, because once you're quick to implement and change, and then you can drive equity. And innovation kind of is the baseline for AI, if you look at it. So I don't think we need to talk about that. But I'll just touch on her point on connectedness. The whole idea behind, we're still humans at the end of the day, and it's humans that are building this AI, models and tools and all of these things. And I think that from that perspective, we also need to understand that human connectedness is still very, very important. And that is why in my last speech, I talked about how humans can't replace, our AI can't replace or shouldn't replace humans. AI shouldn't replace humans, but we should teach, that's the equity part, we should teach everyone how to ethically use AI in their different job functions. So I think that's how it will work.
Oh, fantastic, and I'm sure our answers will evolve as we speak, and maybe we can end this beautiful panel with a small fill-in-the-blank question where we need just to answer by one word to finish the sentence here for each one of us here. So in 5 years, we'll regret not doing blank with AI. What would you regret not doing with AI in 5 years?
Not doing.
Not doing with AI.
Okay. In 5 years, well, with regrets, not doing with AI.
One word, or one
so
one
tough.
topic, whatever. Yeah.
I'll put it, happiness.
Happiness. Not doing happiness with AI. So Sam will regret not doing happiness with AI. How about Alina? What would you regret not doing?
Well, I mean, in my case, I have various responsibilities. So I want to take away the cooking, the cleaning, a lot of the housework with AI. So if it's not going to fix in the next 5 years, I'll be disappointed.
You will be, okay, housework. Muhammad, what would you regret not doing with AI in 5 years?
I think as I'm biased towards data, so in 5 years we'll regret not having the right database for AI.
Roger.
I also was going to say data. I'll have to do something different because that's the most important one for me. Pass. I think it's data. I think that it's the key to everything. So I'm going to stick with data.
Fair enough. Data twice. Kate.
I'm going to have some fun with this one. Creating an avatar with a stand-up comedian show traveling the world. Earning a lot of money from my avatar traveling the world, sharing jokes.
An avatar traveling the world. And last, Lon?
Since I'm going last, I'll use 2 words.
Sure.
Is that okay? All right. I think we will regret not democratizing and regulating AI in 5 years.
Democratizing and regulating AI.
Regulating AI.
Fantastic. It has been a very fantastic panel. I guess you would agree with me, audience. We've heard from builders of the new digital order, not just about tech, not about just fairness and foresight, but also what we would regret not doing with AI. Generative, predictive AI are not just tools, they are choices, if you agree here. Choices about who benefits, how fast we move, and what future are we designing. Let's make it not just smart, but human as well. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed our panel here. Thank you very much for our panelists. It has been a pleasure to be.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If I can ask you all to come to the front of the stage so we can take a family picture, please.